Hi everyone, happy Monday. It's the beginning of a new week. I hope that you all had a good weekend and ready to face a new week, whatever it brings. So let's see if we can keep this one a little bit shorter and not let it run on. But you know what I'm like, I get carried away when I've got a captive audience. For anyone that's new to the channel, and I see I've gained a few new subscribers, if you've not looked in the section which tells you a little bit about me, you might not be aware that I am a domestic abuse survivor. So this poem is connected to my abuse, so it is a little raw, not terribly raw, but it is connected to that period in my life. If you would like to find out more about me, you can buy my last collection, which I brought out last, I think it was September or October, and it was called Pieces of Me, and it is my story in poems about my experience of domestic abuse. I also had my work included in Michelle's anthology, which I've spoken about, and her anthology is a group of poets from all over the world who's raising awareness of abuse and domestic violence. So I believe, like Michelle is a big advocate for this type of thing, and I think that I don't write about it as much as I used to, but I do write about it, and it is part of my healing process, and it is cathartic for me to write about it. I can't just take an eraser and scrub it out and pretend it never happened, because it did happen, and it happened over a long period of time. I was 28 years old when I met my abuser, and I suffered for over a decade, probably I would say nearer 20 years, because even when we were not together, he would still be in the background. So it was probably more 20 years, closer to 20 years, which is a very long time to have someone have such a big effect on your life, particularly your mental health, until you understand that the main form of abuse I suffered was gaslighting. And if you're not familiar with the term gaslighting it's very subtle. Gaslighting is very subtle. It's basically a slow erosion of your spirit until you do not know yourself anymore. That's what gaslighting is. It's it's little digs at your appearance. It's just horrible. It's absolutely horrible. So, and it gets like rooted, it gets entrenched in your mind. So I wrote this poem last night. Because I was thinking about how far I've come since not being in that relationship, and I wanted to put it down on paper. So I have not had the chance to feed it into Grammarly yet. I called it I Am Never Going Back. because I was just thinking about how far I've come. The healing journey, I'm not, as I always say, the healing journey is a long one, and it's a gradual process. It's not linear, and I think I wrote this one basically because oftentimes during your healing process you will have periods where you still doubt yourself and you still believe what you were conditioned to believe, and it's sometimes very, very hard to override the tape, especially, as I say, in my case where the abuse took place over a long period of time. But you will get there. You will get there, and you just have to keep going, and you have to remind yourself. On the bad days, you do have to remind yourself of how far you've come. And I know it's easy to doubt yourself, and it's mental abuse is just absolutely horrific. It's horrific. I know that any form of abuse is horrific, but mental abuse is just like, it's emotional scars, and no one can see them. That's the thing, because they're that deeply sometimes entrenched in your mind. So we're nearly 7 minutes in, and I don't know, but I am going to digress, try and digress really briefly, which is completely off a tangent. But my favourite movie of all time is Heat. Robert De Niro and Al Pacino. Robert De Niro is a gangster and Al Pacino is the policeman trying to catch him. And long story short, one of the favourite quotes is, they're sitting in a cafe. He's not arrested him or anything. He's been chasing him around, but he's still a free man because he's not actually caught him in the act of doing anything. And they're having a face-to-face in a cafe. It's a very, very intense scene. And Robert De Niro says, about being in jail, and he says, I am never going back. And when Al Pacino shoots him at the end, and his last dying words were, I told you I'm never going back. And that's where I took it from, off a tangent. As I say, it's easy to start doubting yourself when the words have been repeated so often to you, and you had it day in, day out, day in, day out. You're this, you're that, you're not, you're this, you're that. Constant barrage of telling you nothing good, nothing complimentary, just stripping, like paint off a wall, stripping your spirit until there is nothing of you left. And then they mold you, or they mold you into this version that they want you to be, which is a submissive who does everything they're told and does not question anything, because by then you're scared. You won't open your mouth because everything you do, say is wrong anyway, so you just keep your mouth shut to keep the peace. As I say, if you want to find out more about me and you want to buy the book, it is on Amazon. Sometimes I put it on as a freebie. I run a freebie if you want to wait until I do that the next time. I don't price my books expensively. I don't. I keep them rather on the low side. So, nearly 10 minutes. Let's get on. I could retrace my steps I could return to the cocoon I emerged from. I could assume the fetal position. I could cut myself to reopen the wound. I could remove my tongue to silence my truth. Giving up is easy. I thought about it often back then. The odds were stacked against me. There was no way out, and so I turned in on myself. It was my fault he did not love me. It was my fault he raised his voice. In the end, I chose to play dead while he watched me bleed. Now my light shines brightly while I fly like a bird released. The view up here is without compare. You're welcome to join me. I was not born to be held in captivity as a silent lamb. I have come a long way, and I am never going back. That's the poem for today, guys. I think there's a chance this might run on to 15. Very briefly, that is also what happens when this type of thing is being done to you. You tend to question your own sanity, and you also tend to blame yourself. And you think that I've gone over these points before, but I'll go over them again for anybody that's new to the channel. You blame yourself. You think if you do this, you do that, you dress a certain way, anything, it won't make any difference. It's a faulty wiring in their brain that they enjoy. They take pleasure from hurting you and having power over you, and nothing you can do will ever make any difference or make it better. And it's not your fault, and you must bear that in mind when you come away from it. You must not sit there and think that it was your fault, because it was not your fault. Thanks again, everyone, for all the views on the short that I posted, The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. That was actually a prompt that was written on WP. I am still going through all my poems to see which goes in the new collection, which will be a follow-up to Pieces of Me, but it will be uplifting, empowering poems, not like ones that are connected with any hurt or trauma. They won't be raw, they will be to lift and empower. And also I was trying to place the order for the postcards that I've done with the poem on it, and my debit card was being silly last night, so I'm going to try and place that order today. And once I get the order, once I've placed the order and I get it, then I will let you see a photograph of it, and I will probably, if anybody's interested, put it on sale on eBay, but I will put a picture of it in the community section, and if you want to buy one, I'll give you a link to my eBay. Okay, have a great week, guys. I know 15 minutes, I do apologise, and thanks for everything. Thanks for being here. Thanks for part of my journey, for being part of my journey. Stay strong, stay healthy, and be good to yourselves, but also, if you can, be good to other people. Bye for now.